Right now they spend 50 and still get cheated with decaying flowers. Akshananda said that it was difficult to avoid being cheated and that even a Bhagaji sometimes gets cheated. Prabhupada accepted that it was a difficult thing to stop. Cheating is one of the qualifications of the conditioned souls. Vipralispa, Brahmapada, Vipralispa, Kanu Natanya. Cheating is a qualification of the conditioned soul. Everyone is expert in cheating, more or less. That is qualification. People take pride. Oh, I have cheated. I'm so expert that I have cheated. When the lawyer makes some argument between the two lawyers, simply think, how can I cheat you? How can I cheat you? That's all. The more one lawyer is expert in cheating, he is big lawyer. Akshayananda had a rather idealistic notion of how to avoid being cheated. So that means that if we become pure, then we can avoid being cheated because we ourselves will not cheat anyone anymore. Prabhupada thought that was much more practical and realistic. No, this world is full of cheaters. We have to live with them. Sati Satyam Samacharet. You have to also become better cheater. That is wanted. Otherwise, you cannot exist. Akshayananda nodded. But we have to cheat for Krishna. Do everything for Krishna, Prabhupada. That is all right. But in this world, if you become simple, the more the whole world is full of cheaters, then you suffer. Therefore, you have to know how to protect yourself from the cheaters. So sometimes we have to become a bigger cheater. That is the world. Vichara Vichani. The whole world is going on. My Guru Maharaj used to say that one is cheater, another one is cheated. Prabhupada went on to mention that anyone who is serious about advancing in Krishna consciousness is welcome to stay with us. We don't make any discrimination. Abala Vada Vidina. Bala means children, Vidara means old men, and Vinata means woman. They are the most helpless, beginning from the child up to the old man. But coming there, if they plan for sense gratification, that is very dangerous. Come here, stay with us. We shall somehow or another provide you with prasadam and place, but be advanced. And the simple method is recommended. He quoted a verse from the morning's class. Very simple. Here, Bhagavatam, actually, if anyone is serious, reads Bhagavat, he became saintly, no doubt about that. Your Bhagavata, Akshananda said, there are no others actually. But Prabhupada was modest. Vyasadeva, the words of Vyasadeva. I'm simply trying to explain, that's all. Nobody else is trying. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. That's still going on in Vrindavan. When you go to the market, if you're not very careful, you can get cheated. I was thinking, since we have a very special day today, we have Pandava Nirjal Ekadasi. Anyone is fasting? Okay. Pundarik, Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to read what the Vaishnava calendar says about that. During the hottest season, not in Germany, I guess, northern hemisphere, if one can perform upavasa without water, one is performing a great feat. One may take only Chanamrita. Now this comes a shortcut. One may only take Chanamrita because Chanamrita is not considered an item which breaks a fast. One may only take Chanamrita or Achman water. Bhishma requested one Vrata day by which he could obtain the fruits of all the other days of Vrata that he was incapable of observing. Vyasadeva advised him to follow this difficult Vrat. One should worship the Lord in the evening by bathing him in milk. On the Dwadasi day, one should give full pots of water to the Brahmanas and feed them before breaking one's fast. So here, in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, and that is quoted from Padma Purana, where Vyasadeva speaks to Bhimasena. O Lord, O Keshava, who holds a club, disc, conch, and lotus flower in his hand, personally told me that all of the merit achieved by fasting on whatever Ekadasi fall in one year can be attained by fasting on this one Ekadasi, Nirjal Ekadasi, of there is no doubt. Vasudev speaks to Bhishma. Anyone who does not fast on this particular Ekadasi, they should be understood to be sinful, corrupted, and suicidal person without a doubt. Once Bhishma Sema, the older brother of Maharaj Yudhisthira, asked the great sage Srila Vyasadeva, the grandfather of the Pandavas, if it is possible to return to the spiritual world without having observed all the rules and regulations of the Ekadasi fasts. Bhishma Sema then spoke as follows: O great, intelligent, and learned grandfather, my brother Yudhisthira, my dear mother Kunti, and my beloved wife Draupadi, as well as Arjuna, Nakula, and Sadev, fast completely on each Ekadasi and strictly follow all the rules, guidelines, and regulative injunctions of that sacred day. Being very religious, they always tell me that I should also fast on that day, but, O learned grandfather, I tell them that I cannot live without eating, because as the son of Vayudev, Samparaya, the digestive air hunger is unbearable to me. I can give widely in charity and worship Lord Keshava properly with a manner of wonderful upacharas items, but I cannot be asked to fast on Ekadasis. Please tell me how I can obtain the same merits result without fasting. Hearing this word, the grandshire of Bhima, Srila Vyasadeva, said, if you want to go to the heavenly planets and avoid the hellish planets, you should indeed observe a fast on both the light and dark Ekadasis. Bhima replied, O great saintly intelligent grandfather, please listen to my plea. O greatest of Muni, since I cannot live if I eat only once a day, how can I personally live if I fast completely? Within my stomach burns a special fire named Vikra, the fire of digestion. Agni, the fire god, descends from Lord Vishnu to Brahma, and Brahma to Agni Rasa, from Agni Rasa to Brihaspati, and from Brihaspati to Swami, who is Agni's father. He is a gatekeeper in charge of Niriti, the southeast direction. He is one of the 8 material elements, and Parikshit Maharaj is very expert at examining things. He examined Maharaj Sibi once he turned into a dove. For further information, you can see in the Bhagavatam. Agni is divided into 3 categories: Devagni, the fire in wood; Jayagni, the fire in the digestion in the stomach; and Varagni, the fire that creates fog when hot and cold steams mix in, for example, the ocean. Another name for the fire of digestion is Vikra. It is powerful fire that resides in Bhima's stomach. Only when I eat to my full satisfaction does the fire in my stomach become satisfied. O great sage, I might possibly be able to fast on once, so I beg you to tell me an Ekadasi that is worthy for my fast and that includes all other Ekadasis. I shall faithfully observe that fast and hopefully still become eligible for liberation's release. Srila Vyasadeva replied, O king, you have heard from me about the various kinds of occupational duties, such as elaborate ceremonies and pujas. In the Kali Yuga, however, no one will be able to observe all these occupational and functional duties properly. I shall therefore tell you how, at practically no expense, one can endure some small austerity and achieve the greatest benefit and result in happiness. The essence of what is written in the Vedic literatures known as the Puranas is that one should not eat or either in the dark or light fortnight Ekadasis. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabhagavat Puranam 12, 13, 12, and 15, the Bhagavad Purana in itself is the essence or cream of all Vedantical philosophy. Hence, the Srimad Bhagavatam unequivocally message is that full surrender to the Lord Krishna and the rendering of loving devotional service to him. Observing Ekadasi strictly is a great aid in that process, and here Srila Vyasadeva simply stresses to Bhima the importance of Ekadasi Vrata. One who fasts on Ekadasis saved from the saved from going to hellish planets. Hearing Srila Vyasadev's words, the son of Vayu, Bhishma Sena, the strongest of all warriors, became frightened and began to shake like a leaf on a banyan tree in a strong wind. The frightened Bhima Sena then said, "O grandfather, what should I do? I am completely unable and ill-equipped to fast twice a month throughout the year. Please tell me of one fasting day that will bestow the greatest benefit upon me." Vyasadeva replied, "Without drinking even water, one should fast on the Ekadasi that occurs during the light fortnight of the months of Jesta, May, June, when the sun travels in the sign of Taurus, of Vrishab, and Gemini, Mithun. According to learned personalities, on this day one may bathe and perform Achman for the Parikprokshana purification. But while performing Achman, one may drink only that amount of water equal to a drop of gold, or that amount it takes to immerse a single mustard seed. Only this amount of water should be placed in the right palm for sipping, which one should form to resemble a cow's ear. If one drinks more water than that, he might be as well have drunk wine, despite the soaking heat of the summer in the northern hemisphere and cold in the southern hemisphere. One must certainly not eat anything, for it does so he breaks his fast. This rigid fast is in effect from sunrise on the Ekadasi day to sunrise on the Dwadasi day. If a person endeavors to observe this great fast very strictly, he very easily achieves the result of observing all 24 other Ekadasi fasts throughout the entire year. And then it goes on Dwadasi, and then we should break the fast, and it goes on and on. So, it's a very long text. Srila Prabhupada said we have to fast. Yes, Maharaj.
Where is this come from?
That's from the Vaishnava calendar. You just press on Ekadasi, and it shows you every Ekadasi is a story. Or
I don't know. I haven't.
I can show you the app later on. It's a nice, nice app. So, anyhow, this is. Yes? Yes, Mataji? Yes? So, I don't want to elaborate further. When I was young, Brahmachari Lokanath Swami was always doing every fast Nirjal, and did it for quite some years. And then I got sick, not from fasting, and then I couldn't do it anymore. Long time I didn't fast. Then last year I did a very long fast for Purushottam, and afterwards I started again. If it doesn't disturb our devotional service, it's a good thing to do. It said in the text today that it doesn't necessarily invokes devotional service, but it is supportive. So we can do a little bit austerity. That's good. And it gives a little shortcut because Charnamrita itself does not break the fast. So if you drink the water which has flown over the body of the Lord or the Shilas, then you can drink that. But it seems to be a little bit of a shortcut.
How much Charanamrita? How much Charanamrita?
As you like, I guess. It didn't say only a cup. So I don't want to inspire you. Nirjal means Nirjal, but the next step is drink only Charnamrita, and then technically if you at least fast for half a day, then you get 50% of the benefit you would get for the full day.
Question. Yes, the question is that when we are taking food, so there is what you read, there are Agni or so fire that helps to digest what we have taken. Fire is Rajas. That means, if that means that doesn't matter when we are taking food, we are getting into this quality of righteous.
We're not taking food.
I mean,
I hope you're not.
prasadam.
I hope you're not taking food. I
No,
hope you're
that is
eating
called
prasadam.
intake of
You're
food.
honoring prasadam.
Okay, I'm honoring prasadam. When we are taking prasadam, that is honoring prasadam. So that is nevertheless rajas. So we are getting into this mode of more or less of passion.
No.
No,
Who
because
says?
fire it is.
We should
digestive
we should take as much as it as is required to keep the body and the soul together. Whatever that might be. If you don't eat enough, you will get disturbed, and so more disturbed you get, so more difficult it would be for you to chant, and afterwards it would be very difficult to render service. So when Srila Prabhupada was in the beginning, he always fed the devotees up to the neck, make sure, because they're getting purified. Then when you're getting more and more purified, you can tune the eating down to a amount which is suitable for you. It's different for everyone. Since we're not engaging in so many other sense gratifications, usually it is smarter to make sure you eat. Not that it get unhealthy, but that you feel satisfied. I don't think this Rajagun eating is required. Eating, that's in Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? Eating's too spicy and too oily. There's some things which are in Rajagun, or eating forbidden things are in Tamagun. Sweets and ghee and things, and the mode of goodness, they should be okay when they're offered to the Lord. Okay, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, Sloka number 39. 37, sorry. And it is a very funny meter. Sama visama matitam matam anurasi yatha raju kanda sapani dijam sama visama matinam matam anurasi anusharashi yatha raju kandaha sapanidiyam sama visama matinam matam marurasi yatha raju kandaha sarpanidiyam sama madinam matanurasi
Sama Vishama Matinam Matam Anusarasi
sama visama madinam matam marusarasi
Yatha Rajukanda Sarvadidiyam
yatha raju kandaha sapanidiyam Word for word, sama, equal or proper. Visama, an unequal or mistaken. Matinam, of those having intelligence. Matam, conclusion. Anusarasi, you follow. Yatha, just as. Rajukandaha, a piece of rope. Sapanadi, a snake, etc. Diyam, of those who perceive. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A rope causes fear for a bewildered person who considers it a snake, but not for a person with proper intelligence who knows it to be only a rope. Similarly, as you, as a super soul in everyone's heart, inspire fear or fearlessness according to one's intelligence, but in you there is no duality. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 4:11, the Lord says, Ye yata mam pradachante tam staivat bhajamyaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the reservoir of everything, including all knowledge, all truths, and all contradictions. The example cited herein is very appropriate. A rope is one truth, but some mistake it for a snake, whereas others know it to be a rope. Similarly, devotees who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not see contradictions in Him, but non-devotees regard Him as a snake-like source of all fear. For example, when Nishingadev appeared, Prahlad Maharaj saw the Lord as a supreme solace, whereas his father, a demon, saw him as ultimate death. As in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.32, Bhayam divye abhibe vatsa satsat. Fear results from being absorbed in duality. When one is in knowledge of duality, one knows both fear and bliss. The same Supreme Lord is the source of bliss to the devotees and fear to the non-devotees who have a poor fund of knowledge. God is one, but people understand the absolute truth from different angles of vision. The unintelligent see contradictions in Him, but sober devotees find no contradictions. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshu Meritam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So thank you for the management, for having a wonderful temple and giving me a chance to speak, even in front of Maharaj. I'm sorry, it's kind of an indecency for me. Give me a blessing so I can say something meaningful. So, Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is a very, this very example that was the first thing which came in my mind, is the Mayavadis quoting this very same thing in order to make their case. They say that this material world, including the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His pastimes, are unreal. It is all unreal, it is all an illusion, and we should try ourselves to become again out of this illusion and to nullify our existence. And they're saying that it looks like a snake, but it is actually a rope. Whereas Vaishnava philosophies have a simple defeat for that. We're saying, yes, this material world is real, but it is extremely temporary. if we particularly take it against the background of the soul and the Supreme Personality of being, are being eternal. Eternity is a very long stretch of time. It is a stretch of time with our tiny minds we can't even phantom in any way. So this tiny fraction of time which appears for us to be a very long time, one lifetime, is in reality nothing. But it is real. Even the soul in reality has no relationship with this material world, being transcendental, being of a different substance, does get to some degree involved in this body and in this surrounding. So we're saying this material world is real, but it is very temporary. Whereas the Mayavadis say this has no reality whatsoever, and you're thinking it's a snake, but in reality it is a rope. So we are defeating that point and say that is okay. But in order to mistake the rope for a snake, I must have first of all have experience of a snake. Why I would fear, how I could say the rope is a snake if there is no snake? So there's a snake. Only after I have experience of a snake, then in the dark when I come down a footpath and an old rope is laying there, I think, oh, this is a snake, and I show fear. But first I must have experienced a snake in order to have fear of the snake. So we say yes, the material world is existing, and it is not a total illusion. It is just very temporary and has no real relationship with the spirit soul. So the Mayavadis, Srila Prabhupada was very much not fond of the Mayavadis, and his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati also, his first fight was with the Mayavadis and with the so-called Gaudiya Vaishnavas who were not following the principles. Because for us here in the West, the people are rather Sunyavadis, or they're thinking there is nothing. But in India it is very, very prominent, this Mayavadi conception, and it is very detrimental. I don't want to get here into some big offense. There was one sadhu who's very worshipped right now in Vrindavan. So maybe I just leave the name out. He's very worshipped. He's walking from his home to his ashram every morning at 2 o'clock. And towards the whole stretch from where he's walking, people are lining the roads. They're covering the road with rangolis, they're covering the road with flowers, they have chamaras, they have peacock fans, they worship the man. And what will happen? He speaks very nicely about Lila Katha. He's almost like a Shakta, but his the Shakti he's worshipping is Radharani. So it sounded very esoteric, and it sounded he's like a very great devotee of Radharani. And it didn't take long. Some of our leaders went, and some of our devotees went, and they were hearing the Katha. And then one day somebody really pinned him down with question, and then he said, no, there is no Krishna, there is no Radharani, you are nothing, and we all turn into nothing. And now the devotees have a hard time now to explain how he is a great Brajabasi sadhaka. So that's what I'm saying. Here in the West, this doesn't seem to be very prominent. So today's sloka is referring to the demigods being very much afraid of Vritrasura. Vishwarupa had done a mistake, and then his opponent made a yajna, and Vritrasura came out. I'm very, very much liking the pastime. I don't want to go too far ahead, but finally when this battle is in full swing, and Vritrasura is having the form of a demon, but by heart he is actually a devotee, and he tells Indra that like now you will slay me, I will die from you now. But who is the benefited here? I will remember the Lord and I will go back. But you, Indra, you will stay here. You will entangle yourself. You will enjoy and you'll be in the heavenly planets and you will get entangled in this material world. Please go ahead and have it. Please slay me so I can return and I can leave this horrible form as a demon. So it's a very nice, this exchange which will come later on is very nice. And there's another nice section which is very nice. Me being on Padayatra in India, when you go to Ahmedabad, there is a river called the Sabarmati River, and at the bank of that river is Dahichi Muni's ashram. So basically, Indra was not able, as we hear they all are praying, the demigods are praying. Vritrasura is so powerful, he can defeat all the demigods. Indra being the head of the demigods, they all are in fear. And what they do when they're in fear? They are going and praying to Lord Vishnu. And this today's sloka is basically, if you are actually in contact with Lord Vishnu, then you don't consider the rope for a snake, so you're going to be fearless, like Prabhupada says. Prahlad Maharaj was not fearing Lord Nishingadev, whereas his father Hiranyakashipu, for him it was death personified. So after they had no way out, and then Lord Vishnu gives them a hint, said you asked Dahichi Muni for his bones. So, and being a nice Muni and being a well-wisher of the demigods, he agreed. So he had to obviously leave his body for that. He left his body, and then out of the bones of Dahichi Muni, the Astra demigod has this, Indra has this powerful thunderbolt, Rajra, and with this Rajra he could kill Vritrasura. No other way, if not he could have not. So the knowledge of the Lord, the tip of the Lord, and the mercy of Dahichi, who had given his body, and so eventually Vritrasura. Anyway, I'm going ahead, but because we had visited that ashram, that is always how Dahichi Muni had actually sacrificed his body and his existence, so Vritrasura would get killed. So here the demigods are praying, and today's sloka speaks about that when we are realized, when we are in God conscious, we're actually fearless. And pretty much in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, it also says that anyone who develops a little bit of this knowledge will be saved from the greatest fear. What is the greatest fear? Death. The greatest fear is the fear of death. So we always say the first step, when you meet the devotees, when the karmis, I don't know if even that's the right name, when we're preaching to somebody who is new to our philosophy, the first thing we have to make the person understand is that you're not this body. Because in the moment you understand that I'm not this body, then you have to think for a longer time period. As I earlier said, the body, this material world is very temporary, but it is real. So once we are thinking further ahead, like we were reading about Ekadasi, so Ekadasi frees you from sin. So, and it frees you also from the effects of sin. As devotees, we have to strive to give up anatas, and anatas are usually created from sinful activities or from pious activities. So when we are doing austerity, then we can beat the mode of ignorance, and we can beat past sinful activity, reactions of past sinful activities, and we're getting purified, and then it becomes easier to do devotional service. So here the demigods are praying, and here it basically speaks about fearlessness, and there is no duality. the realized soul does not try to interfere in the material activities too much. Here Srila Prabhupada did say that we should be careful and we shouldn't just be like sadhus. We have to, because for the preaching mission, we have to sometimes cheat, or we have to even become better cheater than the cheaters. But in general, as an advanced practitioner, we understand that we don't want sex life comes also in profit, alteration, and distinction. That we want to give up those three vices. Profit means whenever I want to make an activity, the first thing is I think what will be in it for me. Alteration means then I will manipulate other people that will turn out to my benefit, whatever power or wealth or whatever sense gratification I can get from this manipulation. And then distinction, then I will think that I'm someone or another better or different than other people. So we have to be very careful for that because when we're engaging in these three vices, then it will be very difficult to have a loving relationship and to really appreciate and respect other devotees or even other living entities. Duality means that we're thinking something is good and something is bad, whereas in reality, Krishna is in every living entity's heart as a Paramatma, and ultimately everything what we're seeing and everything what is happening by the will of the Lord. That is hard to understand. I don't want to offend the Russians, but right now many people think this the president of the Russian, whatever federation you call that, is very bad, and many people most probably thinking they're wishing him dead. But ultimately, Paramatma sits in his heart, and when Paramatma feels his time is up, then his time is up. Until his time is not up, he's going to be there, and we are thinking he is bad and we are good. But that is a feeling of duality, that Jai. Sisi Vijay Gauradesh Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. That is not the way to see it. It is a viewpoint. We can see here that when Nishingadev appeared, even Lakshmi, he was so angry, even Lakshmi were not ready to calm him down, and even the demigods were feeling fear of him. Even earlier they had prayed for him. But Prahlad Maharaj, he was just thinking, he has appeared for me, he was in loving devotional service, and eventually Nishingadev did cool down and put his head on Prahlad Maharaj's head, and then his hand on Prahlad Maharaj's head, and he became peaceful. And then we see different people worship Nishingadev as Ugra Nishinga, or usually Grihasthas should, I think in Simachalam in the class somebody said we should only worship him as Yoga Nishinga or Shanta Nishinga. Different forms of Nishinga. Grihasthas should be careful with the Ugra form that burns our material desires, and then we can't enjoy our Grihastha ashram. So it's a different viewpoint. Prahlad Maharaj was in total ecstasy, and Hiranyakashipu was in total fear, which is, again, when we jump over the duality, then we see that there were Jai and Vijay, and they were cursed to come into the material world, and they decided by themselves, instead of 7 births as devotees, they would rather come only for 3 births as demons. So and the Lord had a desire for fighting. He wanted to sport, and he couldn't sport with ordinary demons because they're not powerful enough to fight with them. So he sent his own devotees into the material world to fight. So in reality, only because in order to have a perfect drama, Hiranyakashipu was actually afraid of Nishingadev. Ultimately, he was his bhakta and he just wanted to finish one of his rounds in the material world and go back to his service as doorkeepers, Jain Vijay. So that is the thing, the duality. If you have no proper understanding, we're thinking the rope to be a snake, but in reality, when we develop the knowledge, we know that there is existence of a rope, there is existence of a snake, but we know how to take them or tell them apart. So devotees have great bliss and non-devotees have fear. We can see outside the whole world is running on the idea of sense gratification, and then when sense gratification is disturbed due to old age and disease and eventually death, there is great fear. People spend incredible amounts of money. I've seen in India, here it is not so because there's a health insurance, so people don't think much about it. But in India, if somebody gets sick, you have to send him to the hospital. You have to pay for that. And I've seen poor people, even people who are dying, and it is obvious that they're going to die because of great attachment to this body and to this person. They take him to the hospital and spend 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. No, the sky is the limit of how much money you can spend in India. And basically they spend even money they don't have. And at the end, for next 20 years, they have to pay off the debt because they wanted to keep that body a little bit longer around. So it is very interesting. If we don't understand and we have strong attachment for this material energy, then we suffer in so many different ways. Whereas if we can see things for real, then there is no duality, and we can peacefully enjoy the rope without getting fear of the snake. So devotees are in a superior position. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives a simple process of Harinam Sankirtan, and we were reading in the Ekadasi part that in Kali Yuga it is even more difficult. And so I encourage everyone. I don't want to spoil everyone's service for today, but if we can at least once a year, same like Bhima, do a little bit extra austerity, that would be very good. On the other hand, I have to say on Padayatra, I think one day we distributed 736 Mahabig books in one day. That was in Vishakhapatnam, and it was an Ekadasi. I don't think we all fasted. We had Ekadasi Prasad and went out and give out the books. So I will stop there. I would like to have a little bit discussion and comments and questions and answers. Maharaj? Hare Krishna. Anybody else? A good question? Jai. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Bhagavani Ekadasi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So much easier in English.